Welcome back. In this series of videos, I'm making a comparison between life just before the flood and life today. And today's title is Violence Then and Violence Now. If you look at Genesis 6, you can see and find out what society was like in the times just before the flood, in the days of Noah. The earth was depraved, putrid, and filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth and saw how violent and vicious it was, for all humanity had corrupted their ways. And God said to Noah, I intend to make an end to all flesh, because through men the land is filled with violence. And behold, I will destroy them, and I'm going to destroy the land as well. Now that's in Genesis 6 verses 11 to 13. Now that was 6,000 years ago. A little closer to now, 2,000 years ago, the Apostle Paul wrote this to his spiritual son Timothy. He warned him, you need to be aware, Timothy, that in the final days, the culture of society will become extremely fierce. People will be self-centered, lovers of themselves and obsessed with money. They will mock all that's right and good. They'll even ignore their own families. They will be ferocious haters, that's strong language, ferocious haters of what is good and right. And they will find their delight in the pleasures of the world and not in the pleasure of pleasing God. 2 Timothy 3, 1-4, and that was from the Passion Translation. Now in our day, let's see what's going on. On the news media, we can see street violence with cars burning and police with anti-riot shields trying to control angry crowds. Lawful peaceful protests, which are allowed of course, against governments and their policies, quickly ignite into violence, with shopkeepers panicking on the main streets, trying to protect their plate glass windows from being smashed and robbed. Today, both adults and adolescents go to the movie centres, and in those movie centres, what are the movies that they love to see? Because of modern technology, the most gruesome and realistic bloodshed and violence, these are the ones that they're going to watch. Gruesome violence. It seems they've got a really passion for watching it more and more. Children buy computer games. And the more violent the computer game, the better the computer game sells. They watch it on their little smartphones. And they become numb to seeing murders. Oh yeah, he just got shot. No big deal. Become numb to it. And that's bloodshed all over the place. And they just think, oh, it's the way it is. And the kids become sort of blasé about it. Filmmakers like Hollywood and Disney, they're more than ready to make more and more extremely violent films because they know that the population is addicted to violence. There is an addiction there. No generation in the history of mankind have been so addicted to participating in violence and spectating violence. It's therefore no wonder there's a massive increase in mental and emotional illness, and people in the healthcare industries are overwhelmed by it. But finally, let's not forget where the hatred and violence is directed. The main target of today's hatred is the Jews. Hatred of the Jews and violence against them is a demon. That's clear enough, it's a demon. It's called anti-Semitism. It may surprise you that Martin Luther, from Reformation times, he was very anti-Semitic. He hated the Jews. In the nations of the world, Jewish children are ostracized by their classmates in school and fellow students in their colleges. And as war rages against God's people in their own land of Israel, coalition forces of Iran, Syria, Lebanon, Turkey and Russia, all those nations are listed there in Ezekiel 38 verses 1-5. Those nations and their coalition from different countries are sending rockets into Israel. They're trying to protect itself with the with the Iron Dome. Even now, the threats of nuclear bombs from Iran. Asaph, he wrote Psalms, and in Psalm 83, this is what Asaph prophesied. Do not keep silent, O God, for behold, your enemies are in tumult. Those who hate you have raised their heads in hatred. They scheme against your people. They conspire against your precious ones. They have said, come, let us wipe them out as a nation. Let the name of Israel be remembered no more. Psalm 83 verses 1 to 4. This is the flag wave slogan on all the public demonstrations. From the river to the sea, from the Jordan to the Med, wipe them out as a nation. Zechariah's ancient prophecy is also being reported on the world's media. Zechariah wrote this in Zechariah 12:3. In that day I will make Jerusalem, it's all happening around Jerusalem, a heavy stone for all peoples. All who fight against it shall be sorely wounded, and all the nations of the earth shall come and gather themselves against it. In Matthew 24 we also read that he was talking to Jews, and Jesus said this, you shall be hated of all men. And it's coming true. The Jews are hated by so many nations. The exponential growth of hatred and violence we are living through today is exponential, and it will only be stopped by the return of Christ and the setting up of his kingdom on the earth. But first, before he does that, we're going to have the rapture. We're going to be snatched out of here to meet him in the clouds, 1 Thessalonians 4 and verse 16. So look up, fellow believers. Listen for that heavenly shofar, the blast of the trumpet, because your salvation is drawing nigh. Luke 21 and verse 28. Hope that's informed you and encouraged you. Don't be frightened. If we're true believers in Jesus, it's going to get worse in the world, but he's going to snatch us away to the marriage supper. Amen. Looking forward to that.